Hey, what's going on, guys? Lemonade back with another Clash of Clans video. Today I want to talk about what to prioritize in terms of upgrades since the new patch for Town Hall 17. And just in general, if you're not the max Town Hall in Clash of Clans, there's definitely two ways to play the game. The first way is to max each Town Hall and then do the final Town Hall upgrade once you've sort of maxed out that Town Hall to move on to the next one. Me personally, I've always rushed to the latest Town Hall and max my offense first. I just think that for me it's more optimal, and that's what I enjoy. I enjoy being able to attack using the latest armies and the trends and boosting up my troops and being able to replicate sort of what the higher tier players are able to do. But of course, if you enjoy playing the game at your own pace, then by all means, you can max out slowly by doing every single defense and every single trap and everything like that. In my opinion, right now, with the way that the meta is, I think you need to be upgrading the key defenses. So obviously that's going to be making sure your monolith is maxed out, your scatter shots, your air defenses, all your merge defenses, right? So the multi-archer towers, the fire spitters do an insane amount of damage if they're left up and you go into their big range. And then, of course, you have all the traps that recently got a new level. In my opinion, I originally was doing these upgrades to like the Expos and the Teslas, and you'll see at the top here I have my air defense being supercharged. I think I'm gonna go and recommend upgrading the supercharges first instead of doing your traps. So, for example, I'm gonna skip my bombs here. The Seeking Air Mine, there's only one left, and that's the new one that we got. And then you see the new Giant Bomb is not leveled yet as well. I mean, for me, I think prioritizing these supercharges is better value because they take less time to upgrade. So, for example, like supercharging an air defense, it's gonna take 4 days. Here for the second supercharge and give us another 20 damage on top. Whereas if you upgrade a bomb, that's going to be 6 days. So you could really upgrade you could supercharge 1.5 air defenses for the cost of upgrading one bomb. Yes, the supercharge does go away when a new level is introduced. But the air defenses just got a new level, right? So I don't think they're going to be getting a new level anytime soon until possibly Town Hall 18. So in my opinion, I think supercharging first is better. My other thought around that is, when is the last time you failed on an attack because like a trap killed your troop, right? Versus an air defense being left up, or like a multi-archer tower being up, or any defense being up, really, right? So in my opinion, I think supercharging is the right way to go in terms of priority. Of course, in terms of defenses that right now are doing the most damage and causing the most fails in the game, I think you should be prioritizing your monolith first and foremost, then your scatter shots next, then your expos. Okay, so your 4 expos. After that, I would make sure the air defenses are maxed, and then I would do the multi-archer tower before the ricochet cannons. I know at the top tier they're using a lot of ground, but in my opinion, the multi-archer towers feel a little bit stronger than ricochet cannons, and I feel like there's a lot of dragons, especially in the low to mid Legend League tier. And then after that, I would do my ricochet cannons. The builder huts are super important, so I would do those next. The Teslas look really cool, and that's the reason I would do those next. Infernal Towers are part of the core, so I mean, those oddly didn't receive another level, but these should be maxed from when you were at Town Hall 16. And then after that, the Wizard Towers and the Mortars, yeah, they don't do that much damage, but with the RC charge meta right now, every extra second that it takes the enemy RC to take down your defense helps. So you will want to get those up. The Town Hall is a big priority as well, right? Because once it's maxed out, it can do quite a bit of damage, especially, 4 shots onto a single target. So I think that's where my priorities lie. What I would suggest, I think the traps can come after that towards the end. Do your best to stagger your upgrades. So here you can see, I have something finishing in 15 hours, then a day, then 2 days, and then 3 days, right? That way you're just being able to continuously run in the game while always having something to do, something to upgrade, and timing it so that once you kind of get maxed out or get excess loot, you can start upgrading your walls or dumping it into other things. Okay, so that's what I want to talk about in terms of prioritizing for the upgrades at Town Hall 17. Next thing I wanted to cover was the army that I'm going to be using for this push. You see I got a 1-star here, unfortunately, but the rest of my day went pretty decent. So I tripled out the rest of the day except for that 1-star. So I do want to show the army and how it works. Let's go into that. Let's get into our first replay, and I'll sort of explain what I did there and how the army works. Let's pause here. So this is almost the same as Stars' army, except on the RC, I run the Rocket Spear instead of the Haste Vial. The reason I do that is because I find my RC dies quite a bit, especially once the Haste Vial is activated. He just starts running super fast, and sometimes if you invis or guess he's going the wrong way, he can get exposed and just die. So I feel like the spear is more of a guaranteed value equipment for me right now, at least. On the Warden standard with the books to heal the dragons back up in the middle of the raid. The giant arrow, I think it's almost a must-have for air attacks right now, and the healer. And then you can run the king or you can run the minion prince. I find the minion prince is stronger, and the ability covers way more defenses and is much more effective, especially with, like, even if you look at this base, like the minion prince can hit like basically all of the defenses in the core and slow it down for quite some time, versus the spiky ball earthquake boots might take out a few defenses, but then the king is going to get stuck on a wall. So that's what I find happens more. So I think bringing the minion prince is a better option, and it also does a ton of damage as well. If you can walk with your Spirit Fox on your RC, then I would definitely take the Phoenix onto the Minion Prince for that extra revive and damage. But you can see I'm running the Phoenix onto the RC because I don't plan on reviving it after. I plan to start with the spear on all my attacks, get the value from walking the RC, and then following up with the arrow, and then sending the dragons into the base. So let's go ahead and get into this replay and see where we go. There's an invis on the town hall here, and the base doesn't look too great in terms of the setup, because you can get a lot of value on your RC charge here, right? Almost anywhere you enter, it's pretty clumped up, so your RC is going to get a lot of aura value wherever you enter. 3, 2, 1. So I start on the right hand side here. Nothing can reach her, so just kind of chilling, taking out the single Inferno. Even the Expo here shoots, but you don't necessarily have to invis if that's the only thing targeting your RC. And then soon I start my walk here with the invises. So we're on that Fire Spitter, and then we invis to just take it down via aura, and we get onto the next Fire Spitter. And you can see that invis tower triggers, but it doesn't change the targeting of my RC. So here we're just doing our best to keep the RC invisible while trying to sort of skip off of defenses by invising it with decent timing. Honestly, the value I got was already pretty crazy here, but you can see I kind of invis that left side because I wanted to walk my RC to the town hall, which ended up happening. And then we're just going to wait and use our last invis here. And that's it for the RC. You're just going to let the RC do its thing. It's going to go to Phoenix. I dropped a couple dragons, a siege barracks on the left side to funnel, and then I'm going to drop all my dragons in a line at the top left side because that's where the air defense is, and the single. Then we're just going to float in, eat some traps. You don't want an ability too early because you do want your troops to take some damage before you ability. And then here, after the Giga Bomb. I should heal my dragons up soon. I think I'm just cooking the base way too hard that I don't even bother. But then I use it there to protect my Minion Prince as it flies in to the monolith. And then my dragons that were on the outside also started to eat black mines through the core there. So, and then you can see this is just overkill at this point. I'm not sure how many dragons we lost, but not that many. And then overall, this hit was like 2 minutes and a bit. So we had plenty of time after super minions come out of the siege barracks as well for that extra firepower. And yeah, I think this army is pretty strong right now. Let's go on to the next replay. Okay, so centralized monolith here. I think bases that are set up like this in this sort of diamond-ish shape without an invis on the town hall are pretty weak right now, especially in this meta. Look at all these air defenses asking to be walked. They're on the edges of the base. I mean, you could easily line up a shot to take out 2 of them. And, you know, in theory, you could enter on one of them and start taking it out. But here I stand on the right-hand side. Because of the way that the fire spitter was pointing, I entered from a direction where it basically wouldn't shoot anything at all. And then down here, you'll see I walk. And I'm fine if I go into the core to get the monolith, but I'm also fine if I just walk around here because the rage towers are both here. So I'm happy if my RC paths either way, to be honest. I don't need to invest extra invisibility spells to push my RC in further. I'm more than happy to just take these components out. The rage tower triggers, but my RC is invisible, so it doesn't get any value for the defenses. And then here I'm going to slowly take down this multi-invis past it. And then I noticed that it might walk down to the archer tower, but it doesn't, which is good. And then here is where I rage, because I want to take out this other rage compartment. And then look at this. Both rage compartments are taken out. Yes, the monolith is left standing in the core there, but we've taken out almost 30% of the base at this point. 31%, 33%, plus my RC is still going to go to ability, 40%. Right, and then I start the top side push. So I drop my siege barracks, drop the dragons, drop my warden with the minion prince, and then once I think they're taking too much damage, I use my warden ability. You also kind of have to try and anticipate roughly when your dragons or troops are going to start hitting the traps. Usually the town hall is pretty trapped and the core is pretty trapped, so around this monolith I expect a bunch of black mines naturally, right? Because a lot of people are not putting too many traps around the edge of the base, because you know a lot of people are entering and then sending like a blimp, let's say like a Yeti blimp, which will potentially eat up all the traps. So I find the base builders now are trying to put traps where after the fact, I guess after the fact that people have like dove there with their RC or gone in with their army, you sort of want to use the traps towards the backside of the base where there's no more warden ability, and that's where you kind of get the most value. Okay, I'm just gonna show this one more time. This attack strategy and explain what I did here. Let's go for a stronger base. You can kind of tell which bases are stronger when you see how much loot you get off of them through Legends League. So I just learned that recently. I didn't know that that was like can be used as an identifier to how strong a base was defensively. And then this is a super common base style to see. It's effectively a ring base that will force you to run around the whole base before you get to the town hall. So you have to be really careful with these styles of bases. Let's get into this attack and see how we approached it. Honestly, last season I failed quite a few times on this style of base, so I don't have, you know, the exact answer for how to approach these bases, but I start on the left hand side here. Let's go back to 1x. I start my invis. Before I used to always avoid walking where this Giga Bomb was, but now I find it's not as scary. My RC gets stuck on the king here, which is awful, but also why the king is such a good defensive hero right now, especially with this meta. If you can get like the enemy RC charge to get stuck on your king, then it's just gonna save you. It could lead to a defense because you have to spend so many invis spells to keep your RC invisible, and you don't get a lot of value by just attacking a king, especially if you're using an air army like I am. Okay, so still charging down here. One more invis to go. There it goes. We're gonna get the scatter, maybe get the poison tower. At least the poison tower will pop. Couple dragons. The big thing about this army is you can time fail. So if I see like an area that just has a bunch of trash buildings, so to speak, I'll just drop 1 or 2 dragons there to start working on that. And then here you can see I shoot my arrow to try and make a funnel. I wasn't necessarily aiming for the air defenses, but usually you do want to try and get both, like air defenses and make your funnel or hit some sweepers. So here I sort of just made sure that I got the buildings to the right more than the air defense. Here I'm going to ability, eat a bunch of mines, eat the Giga Bomb. So that's in my favor. And then I'm probably going to use my rage to push through the core here. Although when I used that, I wasn't sure if that was the right choice. Sometimes you kind of have to look to see what's left on the base while your army is going through. I still have my minion print ability, which I just used there. And that was mainly to slow down the multi that's going to be shooting on my troops for a while here. You can see even on the backside, those 2 dragons that I dropped to clean up the left side are still going strong. And we'll pick up a few more buildings. So that's going to help a lot with the time. This actually ended up coming pretty close to time. I think I cleared it with a few seconds to go. I don't look at my army though. Like, look at this army. There are so many troops still alive. Super minions, dragons. I got my warden. I got my minion prince. But it came close to time failing. I think it finished like 2 minutes and 50 seconds, I think. So if I hadn't dropped the dragons on the left-hand side, then I would have ended up time failing. So that's my one recommendation for this army. If you're running 16 dragons, is it optimal to run 16 dragons? Probably not. You should probably run like a baby dragon and some minions for cleanup, that sort of thing. But I just wanted to use this to make it simple. You know, make your attack bar less. And then, yeah, very common to see mass drags. And then another thing, with dragons on cleanup is that they can tank a black mine and still keep going. Whereas if you use a baby dragon and it eats a black mine, it'll die. So you won't get any of the trash buildings there cleaned up. So that's another reason why saving a few dragons to use for cleanup can be very helpful. Especially when you have a good RC charge, because your RC is going to take out all the defenses in that particular area. So naturally, you want to drop a dragon to clear out the rest of the trash buildings that your RC wouldn't have been targeting, since the RC is always targeting defenses. Okay, that's it for my video today. Hope this was helpful. Catch you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.